I just got surprised by pancakes being served by trail angels in the middle of nowhere, which really slowed me down, but I'm happy. You know, what makes hike planning difficult at the moment is the fact that people have been calling wolf on every single hike section all the way up to this point. Like, they've been saying that Florida will be completely miserable, no redeeming features. That's absolutely not true. People have been saying that the Keys Roadwalk would be horrifically dangerous somehow. It's been very, very wide shoulder. People would say that, you know, Alabama would break my toes with rocks, or that Georgia would have insanely steep climbs and would be one of the toughest parts of the AT. That hasn't been true at all. And it's just gone on, and it's like the trail I've done so far has been pretty easy by my standards. Even the toughest parts of the AT so far, really not too bad. So it's like, when people warn me about New Hampshire or Pennsylvania, I'm like, maybe it's gonna be hard. I'm not really too sure. There we are, Spy Rock, best view since Daleville. I'll have lunch up here. Just summited the Priest. Wasn't that hard. I think it's a bit harder for southbounders. That being said, that next hill right there does not look very appealing. I've heard that's the last serious hill in Virginia. I really, really hope that's correct. That's the never-ending plains of Virginia right there. I haven't really seen a view like this in a while. It's mostly just been mountains, mountains, mountains. They're just so tame on this trail. I keep on seeing them. They aren't really too bothered. Right, time for hell on the 3 ridges. I'm prepared. Just hit up that shelter to sign the log. I'm about halfway up the climb. It's not treating me too badly yet. Evidently, it seems like the trail maintainers decided we didn't really need a trail for this section. Why, Virginia, why? Look at that, that's a white blaze. I'm almost at the top now. Most of it wasn't too bad past that rocky bit. It was still pretty rocky and rough, but manageable. That, I think, was the toughest part of the entire AT so far. It was long, it was rocky, and it was steep. I haven't had that combination before. But it's sunset, and I'm enjoying that. I know you aren't seeing very much of what I'm seeing, but oh my god. Sunrise. Okay, trail magic 3 times in 4 days. This is not something I was expecting here in Virginia. You know, I've heard people say that you're going to be miserable if you do the Appalachian Trail at a 3.5 month pace like I am. But the thing is, I think it's completely fine if you actually slow down to enjoy the scenery when you feel like it. Like, I was just passed by some people who are definitely on track to finish the Appalachian Trail in 4 months, but they weren't stopping for anything. They were just keeping their head down, walking past all the views, and just trying to get to town as fast as possible. I don't think that's the attitude you need to have on this trail. I think you've really got to slow down a bit, sniff the roses, and do some epic side trails like this one to the top of Humpback Rock. This is living a good life. I'm all out of snack food. Luckily, I'm almost in town. Alright, time to hitch a ride into town and get some power, Wi-Fi, and showers. They have a hiker corner at the library in Waynesboro. It's pretty nice. I charged my stuff there for a few hours. I was working on editing these videos. Good place to rest. Okay, where do I go and get this stuff checked out? Oh, I ran out of time to take a shower at the last hostel, so that was like the first shower in something like 11 days or something. I have been filthy. I had thought that a donation-based hostel in town was open, but unfortunately it wasn't. And I figured I'm actually pretty happy with just sleeping in my tent, sleeping in my sleeping bag. That's when I'm most comfortable, so this is going to be my home for the night. I'm sharing the space with a few others already, probably more coming. Good night, watchers, good night. I used Fanta with my Frosted Flakes because I was out of water in my tent. And I feel like I've created something deeply unholy. Right, it's only 100 miles through Shenandoah, let's do this. Lately I've been having a pretty bad case of what people call the Virginia blues. Although in this case, it's not really caused by the fact that I'm spending a very long time in Virginia and haven't crossed the state border in a while. Maybe that's part of it, but the thing is, this place has had the worst pain to reward ratio of the entire trail so far. It's up and down hills with very little to show for it. I'm in the green tunnel, have been for a while. And I'm also in the halfway point of my hike. I feel like the halfway point is always the toughest part of a through hike because you're too far away from the beginning to be in the honeymoon phase, and you're too far away from the end to really feel like you're anywhere close. So it's been a downer. I've thought a lot more about home than I have at any other point in this hike. It's just, I don't feel the best right now. But I'm going to keep on walking, and in time it should get better. Well, I was mumbling about how bad a time I was having. Not really too happy, but then I met this guy and I walked with him for a short while and was talking with him. And he was having the most positive attitude about the trail. And I remembered then that I really want to have that positive attitude as well. So talking with him actually has really brightened my day. I feel much better now. I'm looking at all the bright sides of this. You know, this is Shenandoah. I haven't walked through a place like this before. It's sunny, it's good. Very, very, very tempted to have lunch here. Look at those seats, look at that table. This is what I'm hiking now, green rolling hills. To help cure my sadness, I actually stopped looking at maps, so I have no idea what's ahead of me now, which is pretty exciting. Just checked out the first of these Shenandoah shelters. They're these big shelters with lofts and bear boxes. Quite nice. Well, how's this for a view? A storm seems to be bearing down, and under those circumstances I normally would have just felt like setting up tent and staying under shelter, but at this point I sort of feel like I've gone through everything the trail could possibly throw at me. I don't really care too much. I'll walk through the rain. I thought the last section of trail to Waynesboro was kind of hugging the road a bit too much, but this one is really, really hugging the road. So if you see that thing, that is Skyline Drive, and the trail really, really follows it. Sometimes like this, usually a bit further away, but always within hearing distance of traffic. It's just inescapable here. It's not that bad, to be honest. It's a pretty empty road, especially now, but it's an interesting aspect of this park. The signs are my favorite thing about Shenandoah so far. You just have these big concrete posts, and I didn't see them at first, but there's all these letters on them. How are you so habituated to humans? Okay, now you're running away. That's probably good for you. Good morning view. Hopefully a couple more will come. Well, this is something I wasn't expecting. Another of these Shenandoah huts. Really quite nice. I hope timing works out for me to stay in one of them sometime. Another milestone. The more and more of these mile markers I see, the less and less I care about them, to be honest. So, as for other people doing the same thing as me, there have been a few others. There have been 2 people ahead of me. But the thing is, the last sign I've heard of them at all were from the border of Florida. I haven't heard of anything of them since I read those logs. So, considering that news travels pretty fast on the trail and I should have heard of them if they are ahead of me, I'm guessing they must have just been section hiking or dropped out. So that leaves me, Fire, and Eric as the people who seem to be doing the entire ECT this year. Eric and Fire seem to be around Tennessee or so, not really sure. But yeah, I'm alone in what I'm doing right now. It absolutely dumped on me. It was a total deluge. I just rested at a hut, but I am soaked and freezing. Some of the weirdest water sources I've come across have been in the Shenandoahs. Like, have a look at this. That's a really good flow. You know, in Shenandoah there are these restaurants called waysides. And the way I heard people talk about them, I almost got the impression that they're kind of everywhere in the park. Like, you would stumble across one every 2 hours. But as a matter of fact, I've walked across most of Shenandoah now and I haven't seen a single one. But maybe they're still ahead. Oh my god, those are shock marks! I'm a rock climber! I must investigate. Is that blood? I'm not sure. I'm a rock climber, I must investigate! Look at that jug! This, in all seriousness, this seems like a pretty tough boulder. Cool stuff though. Oh yeah. Decided to go for a bit of a rock scramble. It's not quite on the trail, but the trail is like just below me. I can see it, so whatever. Scrambles being a bit of a full body workout, but that's what I want. That scramble was awesome, really awesome, 1000% worth it. I think I'll camp somewhere on this peak. I might actually get to camp in the light of the sun for once. Anyway guys, see you tomorrow. Good morning, there's my campsite, just packed up my tent. And that right there is the view that I was having for breakfast. It's a lot colder today than it was yesterday or the day before, which makes for good speed, I think. I think it's gonna be a good day. I'm aiming for about 45 kilometers today and tomorrow and the day after that. The day after that will be a bit of a rest day, maybe a half rest day into Harper's Ferry. And then a few rest days maybe, we'll see. But I'm pretty keen to smash out the rest of Virginia with tempo. You know, people complain about the green tunnel, but honestly, this is pretty nice. One of these campsites was serving pancakes for hikers, so I had a second breakfast. There are all these really nice campgrounds around Shenandoah and these really nice lodges, which give people showers and laundry, and hikers sometimes sneak in to use those services and camp just outside, so I got used to seeing tiny little tent cities outside of established restaurants and stuff like that. Mind you, it's mostly just been campgrounds with convenience stores. I think the restaurant I'm about to pass now is the very first one. I actually just met a rock climber who was going up one of these cliffs around here. He seemed to be having a fun time. Looked like a bit of a chossy cliff though. And I was actually picking on his anchor too, like he didn't have one of the pieces equalized, and he had all the pieces on this one boulder, which means that if the boulder moves, his anchor would have been gone, but I mean, honestly, he was doing it reasonably safe. Not extremely dangerous, at least. I just looked up where the path goes, and it's classic Appalachian shenanigans. I'm climbing that mountain, and then I'm climbing that mountain, and then I'm climbing that mountain, and then I'm climbing that mountain. And tomorrow, I'm climbing those ridges in the distance, and then dropping down the other side. Flowers. Well, the weather's predictably gotten worse. I was really excited about this one viewpoint, but when I got there, completely fog. Just all fog. First a thunderstorm, and now clear blue skies. It's like the weather is trying to play some pranks on me. Just before sunset now. I think I'll try and find a campsite pretty soon. Some deer here, but not very scared of humans. Look at that. Okay, now it's just straight up weird how close they're getting. Dude, what the heck? I've heard they drink piss. Beautiful view out here, nothing but nature and the sounds of nature. More seriously, that's the town I'm thinking about resupplying in, so not too far now. Last hut in the Shenandoahs. I have lunch here and I push on. Solid view. The last of the Shenandoahs are now in front of me. And you know, it wasn't bad while it lasted. It really wasn't bad. Walking on another old roadbed. This is the first one in Shenandoah, I think, but I followed a lot of them in Virginia. Some of these flowers are just starting to appear. In some places in the Shenandoah, I've actually had to double check whether I'm still on trail, because look at how impossibly flat and easy this is. Like, how is this the Appalachian Trail? It's got to be the Appalachian Trail because there's a white blaze, but it doesn't feel like the Appalachian Trail. It's too easy to be it. And that's a wrap on my third national park of this hike. The other two were Great Smoky Mountains and the Everglades, if you were wondering. Well, this is just nice. You really aren't scared, are you? Alright, I'm meeting with some family friends down at the bottom of that hill. But first of all, I'm gonna rest at this bench to regain all my health points. It's been a long day. Just got some trail magic from Mary. Thank you so much for the resupply. Very much needed, and now it's time for Harper's Ferry! Well, in another, 90 kilometers, it's time for Harper's Ferry. Look at all those duckboards. Appalachian trail hikers are so fragile. They haven't waded through Florida like I have. The trees in this forest are really inspiringly tall. I think this might just be the tallest American forest I've been in all year. Back in Australia, the forests typically grow about this tall or taller in many places. But here it's a bit more of a novelty, and it's pretty nice to see.